of the Carolina Weather Group is starting right now. And welcome to those of you joining us all around the internets in the Carolinas. I'm Jared Smith. I've got James Brereton with me out in Matthews, North Carolina, at the Fall for Matthews event, which we had no idea was going on until about 10 minutes ago. A very nice afternoon there. James, how are you?
I'm doing fine, Jared. Things are still warm here in Charlotte, or I should say Matthews, for the time being.
Yes, very much for the time being. We are here because, well, one, it's a nice day, and two, we've got some big fall weather. We got some big changes coming. So let's go over to the surface map, and I'm going to make a couple adjustments here. Do that, and then actually, James will leave in the frame. Sorry about that. Sorry, I don't normally produce. I don't normally click all the buttons, and it's weird when I click the buttons. But anyway, here we go. So here's a look at the Carolinas right now: satellite, radar, temperatures, and even some isobars. Because why not? It's a tale of two seasons is the way that I think that we can put this. Behind the front, we have some 50s and 60s starting to spread now into the Piedmont here, into the mountains, and will be in the Piedmont here pretty soon. We have temperatures running 85 here in Charleston right now, where I am, versus 65 in Asheville. So that gives you a general idea of what we're looking at as far as just the difference in temperature here. The cold front itself seems to be coming through the upstate of South Carolina and into the Piedmont now, and the foothills in the Piedmont of North Carolina right now. It's going to be moving throughout the night. So we're going to be seeing some changes, from west to east as today goes on. A few showers breaking out ahead of it. Let's just zoom in on that real quick. And you can see maybe a couple showers near Concord, and then just east of Greensboro, maybe a spark off a shower or storm or something like that. There's not a lot of moisture to work with, which is helpful to keep those rain chances down, and also the better forcing for any ascent with apparent low pressure that is going to be a little bit further to the north as well. So really, this is kind of the only game in town here. Just a few showers with these down into South Carolina, mostly sunny. Looking behind me real quick, you can see this is a look at downtown Charleston. Behind me here, we have a decent cumulus field beginning to develop here, and that's well depicted here on radar. As you can see, we start to see some bands of cumulus set up. Looks like we have a little evidence of a sea breeze trying to move in, because the westerlies are very strong today. So that is probably not going to be too big of an issue. But again, we're starting to see some of these cooler temperatures move in. And one way that we can really start to look at that too is if we go to the dew points. And this really tells the story about the drier air that's moving in too. Whereas we have dew points in the 70s here just along the coast. Many of the coastal locations, when you go back to like Sylva, North Carolina, for example, dew points down to 45, dew point down to 51 at Asheville, in Watauga County, 48, 55 at North Wilkesboro, 53 at Morganton. Meanwhile, the dew points are still in the upper 60s, heading over into Raleigh, and even a 70 dew point here at Halifax. But again, sometimes these are not the best calibrated things. But it tells the general story. Your cold front is starting to punch in. starting to see some cumulus development. We have a few showers to the south in Georgia, but right now South Carolina is mostly rain free. And as we go further into time here, here's the high res rapid refresh. This is the latest run here, and as we move forward here, this was roughly what Z time is it now? This is about what the model is thinking right about now, actually, and it's mostly there. It might be overdoing some things around Augusta a little bit as we move forward in time. Looks like a little band of showers is going to try and come through Raleigh and Greenville, and the model has been pretty consistent in trying to develop a couple showers and maybe a downpour or two, maybe a rumble of thunder through Charleston as this moves through, but really not expecting too much in the way of any active weather as we go through time. So certainly some big changes, in the offing. So what does that mean? So for people like James up there, I mean, most of us are going to wake up in the 50s here towards the coast. You're probably waking up in the 40s tomorrow, as one would imagine.
I should probably not sleep with the windows open. It's going to probably get a little too brisk overnight. Really nice weather tonight for a fire, if you have a capacity for that in your backyard. But Jared, let me just give you some ground level observations to what you were just showing using measurements. We do have a light breeze, gusty at times here in Matthews, with the southeast of the Charlotte Metro Center. You can see some of that wind now if I turn. It's blowing on some of the tents here at the Fall for Matthews Festival. But wind aside, it's actually a gorgeous, beautiful afternoon. Local observation I have still at 82 degrees. This is the last time we're going to be crossing 80 degrees. And it's really going to be, like you said, the taste of two different seasons here right now. And we're about to see that transition happen here this afternoon by the time this festival wraps up at about 4 o'clock. Now, if you're watching us and you're looking for someplace to get out and enjoy this last lick of second summer, as we like to call it, we are just out in front of the Matthews Library and Town Hall, not too far from Trade and John Street. We got vendors out here with food, coffee. I'm seeing pumpkins, I'm seeing local crafts, and I'm even seeing a petting zoo for the kids. So come on down. We did not know this was happening. We just went out, Jared, as you know, my family was like, let's get one good warm bike ride in. And we were heading down to the library, and we turned the corner, and we went, oh, hey, check this out. This is a really good way to get into the fall spirit.
Yeah, absolutely. And it very much is, I think they probably would have preferred tomorrow's weather versus today to really get in that fall spirit, but that's okay. I think let
me give a little bit of wardrobe reporting. So I'm in short sleeves and I'm in shorts. I'm pretty sure if this was happening tomorrow, I wouldn't be dressed that way.
Yeah, kind of the same here thing. It's a somewhat unusual question on the Carolina Weather Group. What are you wearing? But yeah, but that's basically the same situation right now here in Charleston. Certainly here, where yesterday we had a record high, tied at 87. Last set in 2018, so we tied that. The record today is 90, so it doesn't look like we're going to reach that, though. We just have a little too much cloud cover starting to billow up, and that should stop too much more warming. But we have a couple more hours of heating here, so we'll see what happens. Right now, it's 85 at the Charleston International Airport. So certainly a warm day, certainly very much an October day as opposed to an October day, but that is going to certainly change very nicely tomorrow for most of us. This will clear the coast overnight. And we'll be, and everyone in the Carolinas is going to wake up to something a little different than what you're used to over the next few days. So this will continue over the next few days. We're going to, we'll have a kind of a gradual warming trend, and then another system is going to approach from the west. And really this is getting into that. You're really starting to feel that transitional season begin to kick up. And the nice thing about that is that it also tends to portend the tropics winding down a little bit. Fingers crossed, toes crossed, knock on wood, there are no areas of development expected in the Atlantic over the next 5 days. It's been a long time since we've been able to say that. It's been August 2nd since we've been able to say that.
We speculated about that on our Wednesday night live show. And I'll also comment, you talked about some of those record-breaking temperatures. We did break or I should say tied the high temperature at Charlotte Douglas International Airport on Thursday. So it was a very warm week, and we're about to feel that turn on a dime here. Again, that wind that I'm experiencing, and you're probably experiencing elsewhere across the Carolinas, that is the transition happening in real time.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're going to start to see, James, I think you're going to start to see a wind shift pretty soon, because, you know, the observations are starting to show northwest winds beginning to work their way into the Charlotte metro area. So your winds are going to turn soon as well.
I would say it's almost coming that way right now.
Yeah. So I would say that once your winds turn, that's the beginning. There's a little prefrontal trough where the wind shift is happening, and then the front itself, the air mass is going to come through behind that. It's not going to be a flash drop by any stretch of the imagination, but it may end up feeling pretty nice before all is said and done tonight. But again, we're going to stay, you know, closer to the coast. We're going to stay into the, we're going to stay in a little bit more warm and humid conditions for one more day. Again, this is going to punch through tonight. But it is, but the front is coming through the, upstate of South Carolina, moving into the Midlands of South Carolina right now. And as we mentioned before, prefrontal trough moving through, likely moving through the Charlotte metro right now. And with the cold front not too far behind it, moving through the foothills as we speak. So,
one last follow from Wednesday night's live show, which I would encourage people to go check out on our YouTube channel. It's Oktoberfest. This group of people behind me, this is the beer line from the local Matthews Beer Temple.
Yep, there it is. It's that time of year. You know, you're switching from the summer beer to the winter beer, and, you know, you kind of have that intermediary there with Oktoberfest and everything there. So, you know, I mean, just like how they switch from summer fuel to winter fuel, it's the same thing, just with beer.
I think there's a hot apple cider in my future, Jared.
That sounds good. I mean, maybe let the temperature outside drop a little bit before you get into that, because, you know, although I always order my coffee hot, so it doesn't matter if it's like 95 degrees outside, but that's beside the point. But anyway, overall across the area, across the coastal areas, you know, be ready for maybe a couple showers this evening. There is the potential for, you know, maybe an isolated downpour in spots. Your better chances are going to be as you get into the Triangle area, over the Triangle, and then eastern North Carolina near I-95 over the next few hours. Further south into South Carolina, again, certainly seems as if we're going to be kind of in a gulf of moisture there, or a lack of moisture, I should say, with better moisture to the south and better lifting to the north. So we should, most of us are going to get through today pretty dry, but there are going to be probably a couple showers popping. But other than that, no severe weather expected, no major problems at all. This is transitional seasons can be tough. October can be our second severe weather season. We're not dealing with any of that today, which is really fantastic. All of the benefit and none of the problem. So very nice. So James, you got you're walking through there a little bit, a lot of tents, I mean, this is a pretty well attended event. It looks like.
Yeah. I just moved out to the Chamber of Commerce building, which is the old Seaboard train depot. And to kind of get a little bit elevated platform, this is the green in front of the library. So this is where they have a lot of their silver and gold sponsor level vendors. And then again, it was continuing down the street right through here, a little shopping district, for those of you who are familiar. So I was just trying to get a little bit of a higher vantage point, but this will be going on until 4 o'clock down here in Matthews near the library, and beautiful weather. Could not ask for more beautiful weather, a little gusty, but I don't know, Jared, you said you maybe would have been more fall-like tomorrow. Yeah, probably, but it's very comfortable out right now.
You can't argue with that. And it's funny because, down in the South, you have such a polarized opinion on this stuff. But at this time of year, you get two distinct camps. You get one camp that says, can it be summer forever? And then you get the other camp that says it should have been fall 6 weeks ago.
I think we saw that on Wednesday night's show, and Scotty Powell would definitely be in the I wish it was summer forever camp.
Yep, absolutely. So again, bottom line, folks, fall is coming. If you like summer, enjoy today. It will warm up a little bit as we get in later into next week. So it's not going to be cold forever. No severe weather expected, but a few showers possible as the cold front pushes east. Cold front is draping through upstate of South Carolina into the foothills of North Carolina right now, starting to move through the Charlotte metro area. And it's going to be really comfortable. It's going to be really, really, really nice, especially for those of you who are into the fall thing over the next few days. So, James, you got anything else from Matthews before we wrap it up?
Nope, just one little last visualization on the wind. You can see the flags out here in front of the library. Again, it's not terrible, but it is gusty. No. It is windy, and that's the transition that's happening.
Yep, and that's to be expected. We have very strong high pressure moving in, and you have a very strong low pressure to the north, and you have that pinched gradient, and that's how you get your wind. So just think of it as two buildings, and you're funneling wind between two buildings. It's the exact same thing. So with all that being said, James, enjoy the rest of your afternoon. I'm going to go ahead and jump off of here as well. Thank you all for watching, and if you have any questions for us on the Carolina Weather Group, tweet us, Facebook us. Happy to help. But overall, enjoy the rest of your weekend. It's going to be terrific. So for James Brierton out in Matthews, North Carolina, I'm Jared Smith in Charleston, South Carolina, wishing you a wonderful weekend. And we will see you Wednesday night for another episode of the Carolina Weather Group.